Artificial intelligence, or AI, continues to disrupt the workplace. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the focus group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the focus group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. John T. Nash. And be sure to learn all about us at focusgroupradio.com. You'll find all of our media housed there, including our podcast, TFG Unbuttoned. This week, we did kind of a fun twist. We did all obituaries that were that happened last week of the creative class. So be sure, if you haven't listened to that yet, to check that out. And leave us a like or a follow or a nice review. 5 stars preferable.
And if it's not going to be 5, we don't want to hear from you, right?
Well, you know, sometimes we get, I am horrible with pronouncing things sometimes. And so every once in a while we'll get, we've said something wrong or we mispronounced something, or half the time somebody had told us this. Oh, it was Dick Cavett was on the show one time, way back in the day. Not that we're name dropping. And and he had said that he would get home and forget. He'd be in the elevator to go home and forget who the guest was. And you and I have that happen all the time. Someone said, oh, listen to the show and make some sort of reference. And I'd be like, I don't remember. Oh, that was 4 shows ago, maybe? Or because people time shift, right? So I don't even remember when it was. Or somebody will say, what did you talk about in the show this week? Well, I did that to you last week. I actually forgot when I was doing I usually write them down, but
you asked me what caught my eye was. It was the hotelier that was swallowed by a crocodile, I think. Right.
And I should have remembered that, but you move on. And
the Dick Cavett line is great though, because his doorman would say, "Mr. Cavett, how was the show? Who'd you have on?" "I don't know, but I know who I'm having on tomorrow."
Because you moved on, right?
He already did the show. So, a while ago, we put out a challenge, and we've getting a lot of emails, by the way, from listeners, to let us know about hilarious local TV ads. A lot of them tend to be car ads because they refresh those quite frequently. So we've gotten a couple of notes from people, and a while ago, we got a note from Jill down in Texas, and she wanted us to know about a dealership called River Oaks Chrysler Jeep. I think it's Chrysler Jeep, Ram, something. That's all those Chevy brands. She sent along 3 links from YouTube, and I had trouble picking out the wackiest because, and as she said in her note, let's see what she says here. She said, "They're in Houston, and we get a laugh every time. Watching more than one gives a greater appreciation, but doesn't help to understand why there are always girls in tight dresses." So, do you remember was it the Robert Palmer video with the girls in the black dresses and the red lipstick?
Addicted to Love. Yeah.
Addicted to Love.
Yep.
So one of the videos, which I grabbed the audio from, we're going to play in a second, features the guy, I guess he's the owner of the dealership, in a suit and tie, but he's wearing like Nike high tops. And I found out that when you watch all the ads, he must like kickboxing because he does a lot of kicking. He'll kick the car, he'll kick a pad. And the women are in these tight black dresses, and one of them said Miss Latina, Texas or something. So he's probably bringing in beauty queens or something like that.
Paid for that. Yeah, he paid for that appearance. Yeah.
So here we go with the audio from this one. And if you're watching on video, I put up a couple of still images from the YouTube, which kind of tells you all you need to know. But here we go with the audio.
All I want to do is dance and sing, kick and ring, and sell cars. I love River Oaks Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram.
I love River Oaks Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram.
I love River Oaks Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram.
It's our Jeep celebration event.
Boom. It's our Jeep.
Who was the falsetto? Was that him?
It was
a
woman. It's this woman, like she's in a kind of a suit, and she's standing next to a Jeep Cherokee. And then the last voice is a guy popping out of a sunroof. I love River Oaks. But when it begins, this guy he dances, and then he does a high kick, and he kicks the license plate on one car and kicks the thing on another. And the girls are doing their Robert Palmer thing. So thank you, Jill. Another hilarious example of creativity across our great nation on the eve of our 250th birthday, too. Which site? Oh, so letters at focusgroupradio.com. If you send us something and we use it, I'm going to send you a pair of Focus Group Radio socks. Tim, the supply is dwindling on socks, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You gave me, I have a bunch. You gave me one of the last big batches, I think.
There might be 20 pairs left. I had given some to, which is in the Caught My Eye. I gave 2 pairs to the Caught My Eye today. And yeah, there's 1 tub left of purple, but I think there's probably 20, 25 in there.
Oh, okay. I have a whole box as well. So if you, and it doesn't have to be a car ad. It usually, they are car ads. And you had that hysterical example, Tim, of the guys that do drywall that are dressed in
drag. And you and I missed our calling here, John. I really think this could have been a business that we did because the bar was so low.
you and I are so highbrow.
Well, no matter what you did, and you and I could oh no, you sound great. We could do the most absurd, campiest, funny ads, right? I mean, if you were working with this talent, oh yeah, the kicking's great. It'd be even funnier if you had a pair of high heels on one time. You did it during Pride. That's a good idea, kid. They tell me, we could. Listen, there might be something there, John. I don't know. With AI now, maybe we can do it remotely, right?
Oh, yes. But I got to tell you, when you see some of these local I just love them because I guess Tim, a dealership has a certain amount of money to spend on this, right?
Well, there's co-op dollars. And
there you go.
The OEMs or the manufacturers tend to be very strict to make sure you adhere to the brand standards. Now, I am sure Jeep and Chevy or whoever's doing this is mortified because that's probably not the image that they want to put out. But the guy is spending money and he's spending money to market the product and market the brand. So a lot of times you either hide your eyes or hold your nose. Or they might say, well, you didn't mention the brand enough, so you're only going to get half of the co-op dollars you would have gotten. But generally, they're pretty good about helping the local dealers pay for some of those ads. But they want them to adhere to a certain standard. And
I don't know if the kickboxing Robert Palmer girls in black dresses is doing it, but...
or the C and a Kia, that's the last thing, those people that are doing the rhymings or the other thing that drives brands crazy is when you put the S on something. There was a woman down here that had her dog. She must have tried to copy Subaru. She was a Toyota dealer. And it was always brand new Tacomas, brand new Camrys, brand new, everything was.
But it's really Tacoma, Camry.
Right. Get the brand new Toyota Camry. Get the brand new Toyota Tacoma. We got Tacomas. We got Camrys. We've got Lexuses. I mean, you're not.
Tim,
anyway.
we were at, when Mrs. C passed, we were at her funeral, and afterwards we were at that get together, and there was a woman there that we both knew, and she came up with the, my dealer is Keeler. Like she was part of that group that came up with that like jingle, right? I don't know if you remember her. Was it Lynn Larson? Yeah, Lynn. It might have been. Yeah. Yeah, we knew her from Chicago. She lives in Massachusetts now. That's exactly who it was. Yeah, my dealer. Yeah. And when I brought it up and she goes, "Oh yeah, that's us. My dealer is Keeler." Crazy. Oh, and before I forget, are you excited about the July 4th celebrations? Like I know that a lot's been planned, but it's fireworks here. Well, you're going to do that, but on the mall, there's going to be some kind of a car race and a UFC fight. Have you heard about this? Is all about Trump's. I've tuned it out. I talk about the worst person to be in charge for the 250th anniversary. Yeah, right. I mean, it's crazy because last year, remember, wasn't last year when he tried to have the big military parade, a la the old Soviet Union or the Warsaw Pact, or even when they do a military. Yeah, or a military parade in France, which is where when he was with Macron once, he's like, "Oh, we got to have one of these," and the Pentagon's like, "Well, no, because none of the roads are designed to carry that kind of weight of a tank." It was a very sad affair. And we don't do that. Yeah, no. we don't do that. Dragging paper mache weapons down the boulevard. I mean, it's. And they were. You told me once. Yeah. They were paper
Yeah,
mache.
no, the people that do these studies on North Korea, because it would have been a great job for me because I'm so fascinated with North Korea, but there's people that just study these parades and study the weaponry and what they're holding
and the
and
pictures,
what they're doing.
yeah.
And most of the times it's obviously all fake rifles and fake guns. They're not having people march with full ammo down the boulevard. And then some of these huge nuclear missiles and armaments, if you think you really have taken those out of the silo and disarm them, and they're tons and tons of weight, right? And drive them down the boulevard. You're not taking nuclear weapons out for a ride. So when they drag this stuff down the boulevard, and they can always tell, and they'll compare different years. Oh, they put a stripe on it this year. Last year's stripe was blue. This year's stripe is red. And they added two white stars. You know, they try to make it look different each year. And then the Chinese are brilliant too, because there's a whole YouTube documentary about it. Everybody has to be within 5/8 of an inch in exact height, because they don't want the disparity of different people marching, which when you see the West, it's what you see is what you get. But there, it's all very linear and exact, and everybody has to be the exact height and same size and same weight. And they're essentially just fashion models walking the runway in military outfits. But Trump thought he was going to get that, but he didn't. Oh, did you get sound effects working?
There seem to be new sound effects. That was it's called the drum joke. And
where's
then
our gay bot? But do we have our gay bot loaded?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I did record our favorite ones, and I will put them on the soundboard. We'll just leave it at that for now.
Anyway, so Mr. Nash, without further ado, what caught your eye this week?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
Mine is I always wonder about this, and I came across this on a website, and the headline, which is what caught my eye, said, "Man says he won millions in the lottery 11 years ago, secretly stayed broke, and never told his family." So a Reddit user was posting on a forum about the lottery, and basically he was anonymous, and he said, been carrying this around for over 10 years, and it feels stupid to keep doing it alone. He said his first splurge, he won the lottery. He won, I don't know if they actually give a number here, but he won a lot of money. He said his first splurge after winning the lottery was a glass of whiskey. He placed an order for a $48 pour of Pappy Van Winkle 15. Never heard of it.
Must have known Mandy.
Nobody there knew him. The bartender ignored him. He sipped it slowly and allowed himself to realize for the very first time that he was rich. And then he says, anticlimactic, honestly. I remember thinking, that's it? For $48? He could order one every night for the rest of his life without touching the principal. After thinking about the cost, he never ordered it again. It stopped being fun the second I knew there was no limit, he wrote. The whiskey was the moment. And then someone said, in commenting, said, true contentment is not having everything, but in being satisfied with everything you have. It's not be grateful for less, the guy that won the lottery. It's stop reaching past what's already enough. So he spent some money quietly. He bought himself a $4,000 mattress, which he loves. He does the whiskey now and then. He has a leather chair that he lied to his mom about, and an antique record player he claims he discovered at an estate sale. He doesn't even wear a watch. And then that was it, basically. And he said now it's been this game of making sure everybody in his family thinks he's very poor or he doesn't have enough money, and he's sitting on this cash pile, right?
Is it the U.S. or is he in Europe?
He's in the U.S., yeah. And,
so he's sitting at, so say he won a couple million. I don't know. Didn't say the exact number.
No, he never told them out. No.
So is he living at home or something? Or
no, he lives by himself. And it went on to say that he does give money to charities now and then, but he's very careful about how he does that because he doesn't want people to catch the whiff of money. And then at the very end of the article, it says studies have found that some lottery winners later face financial difficulties. We've heard about that.
Yeah.
Research from a National Endowment for Financial Education has repeatedly found that a significant portion of lottery winners report financial distress within a few years of receiving their winnings, often tied to pressure from family and social circles. No surprise there, right? But it was just one of those interesting things where I've often wondered, people win all the time, but then you don't hear about it. And I think if they're smart, well, if you won a ton of money, how many people would you tell?
Well, I was just going to ask you that question too. Do you think you would have?
Oh,
I don't know. I think a lot of people say that if you won one of these huge amounts,
million,
the first thing you do is change your phone number.
Correct. Yeah.
Or get a new phone number and contact an attorney or figure a way that you cannot be bothered, because not only family shows up, particularly now with Ancestry, right? Oh, it's my fourth cousin. Not only does family show up looking, but every charity is contacting you, and philanthropic group is contacting you for money, and church groups. So there's something about trying to be quiet about it, but I think I would want to take care of my friends that were my friends, and things like maybe pay off their mortgages, or work with. Well, if you worked with your accountant and say, okay, I just won $300 million, or whatever that crazy number would be, and if you had 3 or 4 close friends, and you know that would be something they would appreciate, and I think it'd be a nice thing to do if you said, "Oh, I'll pay off their mortgage for them." Right? I mean, I think that's a nice thing. I don't know legally how that does, because that would be an acceptance of a gift or something.
Correct.
Or how is that taxed? Or
yep, you read my mind. How that's done.
There is a guy here in town in Rehoboth that was left a substantial amount of money unknowingly. Somebody died, left him money, and he did the same thing. He would not tell his wife. They all talk about it in town. Of course, everybody knows but the wife that he got money.
They all talk about it in town.
Right. But he wouldn't tell the wife because he said she'd spend it all. So he got enough to make it so that he could, if he wants to now, retire comfortably and not ever have to worry. It's not millions. It might have been $1 million, but it's not millions. But, and I thought, oh God, I can't believe he didn't tell anybody. But he did buy himself a new car, and he's done a few things, but he's not as worried. I always laugh when they say, oh, it's really not about the money. Yeah, it's about the money. I could be unhappy with a lot of money.
I would not. I've read that sometimes people who win, like some of the bigger Powerball jackpots, they immediately hire an attorney. They move to a gated community. So they change their address. They move to a gated community. They change their phone number. And they're very careful about some of them are very, very careful what they would do with them. I think that what I would do is, first, I'm not sure how you do give away large sums of money. The IRS treats it as a cash gift. An alternative would be to hire a event or trip planner and say, I want to take these 10 people to an exclusive part of St. Bart's or something, rent a house. You do everything you have to do. If they have dogs, you make sure they get boarded properly, or they can bring them with them, do their travel arrangements, and just do an all expense paid, fly them first class, the whole bit. I mean, like a really fun kind of thing. And then I guess you'd have to tell them, like, well, you're all here because I won $10 million.
Yeah, or you tell everybody to meet you in Teterboro. You get your way to Teterboro, and then you all fly down on the Boeing business jet or something. That would be the one splurge I would have. I would have a Netflix subscription. I don't want my own plane. That's too costly and too much of having to hire pilots or whatever. Or NetJet. I would say Netflix. Netflix too. I'd have a net, because I don't have that. I'd have a NetJet subscription or something like that. Because if John, you and I, you could say, oh, you know what, I really wanted to go down to, or I wanted to go over to Disney World and see such. Well, let's go. Yeah. You jump on and you go. I think that would be the way to enjoy the money and spend it and have fun with it. I don't understand sometimes these people that don't want to spend it. Your life is very short. Oh. If you can enjoy it with your friends and make their life and everybody's life either happier or easier, why not? Because otherwise, where's it going to go? If you had $300 million, yeah, you could give $100 million maybe to charities that are important to you, or your school or something like that. But I also think you should have fun with it. I appreciate people who spend it.
Not like weeks ago when we did Caitlyn Jenner suing her dead friend for money that she supposedly owed her on a credit card. And
she owes me $4,000. Really?
And you're Caitlyn, right? You got tons of money in the bank. Yeah, crazy.
She was shaving your boobs 3 weeks ago, and now you're worried about $4,000.
Oh my God, Tim. Okay.
Right? Come on. Yeah. Anyway, so my caught my eye is vastly different. So listener Robb, down here in Rehoboth, he and his husband have been longtime listeners of the show. And he had contacted us. You and I were talking about of getting a Filet-O-Fish or something. We mentioned Arby's.
Yes. Yeah.
So our schedules had always been in conflict, but we finally all came together with the moon and the sun and the stars last week on a Thursday. And he said, let's grab that Filet-O-Fish lunch we wanted to do. And we were going to go to Popeyes, Arby's, and McDonald's and do the compare test. So I contacted Popeyes and Arby's. They only offer the fish sandwich during Lent. So they were all done by March.
That is unusual. Okay.
Yeah. McDonald's has it, of course, year round. So with the Filet-O-Fish. So I said, well, the other two don't have them. We'll have to do that, next season. But let's just do the McDonald's Filet-O-Fish. And so off we go. Now, when's the last time you were in a McDonald's?
I can't even remember. And it could have been Fort Lauderdale with Andrew. I mean, Tim, it's been a long time.
Oh, yeah, it was a long time. Well, same with me. I think that might have been. And I think you and I were in the car then. We didn't even go in.
Yes.
So I met Robb inside the McDonald's, and not having been in one in so long, I was shocked how different they are inside, how they're set up. This one in Rehoboth has table service. They bring the food to you. You take a number. It's all done on a kiosk. I had to download an app, which because I downloaded it, we got 20% off. But he and I, people must have laughed at us. He and I could not figure out this kiosk thing. It took us 3 times as long as it would be to just step up and order. Trying to go through the app and then the big kiosk and order. And then there's none of the kitchen behind you. It's all plain. There's just a little kind of terminal thing, and everything's done in the back. You don't even see it.
Oh my God.
So it's so totally different. And so we get the Filet-O-Fish. They offer a double Filet-O-Fish now. So I got the double, he got the single. He said he was watching his figure. So and then I ordered a chocolate shake, small fry. He got the single, and he wanted the high C, the orange drink. They don't have that anymore. They don't have it anymore. The orange drink. They've got some other orange drink now. He ended up getting this mango thing. Neither he and I were happy with their drinks. The shake was not the shake we remembered. It wasn't as thick. And they did whipped cream on them, which I don't like.
Yeah, and if you're watching, Tim posted a picture of our listener Robb with the tray, and I was going to ask you about the milkshake because it didn't look like the typical milkshake.
No, and that's what they had. And so he and I both sat down and we laughed. So the first thing we noticed was the fish was thinner than it used to be. And I said, maybe it's because we were younger. I said, no, the fish is not as thick as it used to be. We both ate it, and not sure we'd rush back.
That was Robb's opinion too.
Yeah, the fries were still as good. So I'll tell you what it cost us. You want to guess what it cost for and we had 20% off. Yeah.
Can I say 18 something?
So it was $25.
Wow.
And then it was so the meal I got was 11 something, and his was 9 something. And then they took 20% off, so it ended up being $19.48. And then we didn't know what to do. So we go through this kiosk, and then it says take a number. So we have to take a number, then go put it on the table. And then somebody walks out. He's laughing. He goes, "Are we supposed to tip?" Then we couldn't find ketchup. They don't have ketchup out anymore. No napkins were out. So if you wanted any of that stuff, you had to go ask. And of course, though, it was the usual. All Robb said to me is he goes, "Have you looked around?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "It's the reason I don't go to Walmart anymore."
Oh my God, Robb.
There was trauma in there. Somebody fighting with manager. I need to see the manager. Apparently their fries were cold. They were in the drive-thru. They came in screaming and yelling like a lunatic. Someone else was upset that their thing was bagged incorrectly. Their food wasn't packaged right. And he and I just sat there and looked at each other. Then the creepiest thing happened. Somebody comes in. We went off to the side like we were going to get cooties. So he and I are off in the corner of the restaurant. Some random crazy looking guy comes and sits right next to us, almost sitting at our table. And Robb just looks at me and goes, "Should we go to Starbucks and get a coffee?" I said, "Let's move." So we picked up and we moved to another part of the restaurant. And so this was I came home and really felt it. I haven't eaten that kind of food in quite a while. And I'd sent Robb a text. I said, "Thanks for meeting for lunch." I said, "But I crashed." I said, "I had that fast food, boom."
Yeah. Did he have it too?
He goes, "I didn't have the crash." He goes, "But I'm not sure we'll be there soon." So,
So your reaction to all of this is like last time Bob and I were in Walmart, I was marveling at the food and just how many different things they have these days. But after about 5 minutes, and I know I'm gonna sound like I'm disparaging, but it was just different. It was a different tone and it was a different shopper, and I observed some behaviors that was like, what are these people doing? And then Bob says, this is why I don't come here.
Well, Richard refuses to go in with me, and I force him to go. Sometimes at night, it's not bad. Have you seen the viral TikTok of the woman in Walmart that's going crazy about Black Lives Matter?
No.
I've got to send it to you. I'll post it to our Facebook page. Every time it pops up, I just watch it and laugh. So she's in the candle section.
Okay.
She's kind of a shorter, middle-aged white woman. And she apparently, someone had a shirt on her, set her off at Black Lives Matter shirt. So she starts screaming like a lunatic, "Black Lives Matter." And she takes these big candles, glass candles, and throws them. And you hear, "Ksh." She yells, "My pussy matters." "Black Lives Matter. My pussy matters." So everybody's running around. People are laughing. They're trying to stop her. And she is throwing these huge candles. I'm surprised she didn't hit anybody. I hear them breaking and crashing in the aisles. And I thought, there's Walmart. Welcome to America. So.
There you go. And I guess that's her free speech thing.
I guess so. But we're watching. I'm like, what did she say? And I rewound it. I was like, oh, my God. Yeah, you'll enjoy it when you see it. So that's caught my eye. That's how that works, John. So anyway, Robb and I enjoyed our time, and but we still need to do Arby's, and we might just go to Arby's for regular food.
Yeah, you might have a different experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So our business birthday today.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
A name I did not know, Dietrich Mateschitz, and I looked it up. That's how you say it. Mateschitz.
You forgot his two middle names.
Yeah, Dietrich Markwart Eberhard Mateschitz.
Mateschitz,
yeah.
Okay.
Mateschitz. So I went to, I said, how do you say? I go to the how do you say? So born May 20th, 1944. He died at 78 in October of 2022. He was co-founder and owner of Red Bull.
Wow.
And
okay.
which at the time when he died, his estimated net worth was $27.4 billion.
More than enough. More than enough, Tim. He could have given $500 million to the Focus Group, right?
Listen, we'd take $10. So he worked. He initially worked. He was born in Austria. Initially worked for Unilever and Blendex. And while he was traveling in Thailand, he discovered this drink called Krating Daeng. It's Krating Daeng, Krater Daeng. And he had tasted it and took a sip and said, I don't have any more jet lag after having this drink. So he thought it might be a good thing to bring to Europe and to use for people that do late night shifts or drive trucks or whatever. So he'd gone from at Unilever selling detergents, and then Blendex, it was a Procter & Gamble company. It was a cosmetics company. And he worked in the toothpaste division. After he found this drink in Bangkok, he teamed up with a local distributor there and then launched the brand in Austria in 1987. So he turned Red Bull into the market leader for energy drinks. He took 3 years to perfect and modify the drink, which he thought would be effective for the European market in 1987. Allergies are hitting me. So he started marketing it consistently, and he said he was figured that if he used various types of extreme sports, that it would help identify how powerful or how good this drink was. So he chose surfing, skydiving, cliff diving, winter sports, and mountain biking through commercial sponsorships. And that became very much of what they were known for their creative and their very intensive focus on extreme sports. He also did, you might remember, he did a high altitude skydiving exploration from the edge of space. Excuse me. All of a sudden, my nose is running.
Your allergies, yeah.
My allergies. So he also was involved, I'm not going to go into it, but he was involved in a lot of Formula One racing, owned a number of teams. He actually bought the Jaguar team for $1 from Ford.
$1?
In 2004. He bought it for $1. But he invested heavily into Formula One, though he would watch the events on TV. He never showed up. He wasn't ostentatious. He didn't like society sort of events or whatever, but very, very heavily involved in racing, very heavily involved in NASCAR in the U.S., also with soccer teams and football teams, owned the New York Red Bulls, for instance, and just made lots of money from this Red Bull energy drink. He also founded Wings of Life, which was the foundation that supported spinal cord research and injuries, and had given over 100 million euros to a university in Austria to study spinal cord injuries. And he never married, but he had a son named Mark, who was born in 1992. And the son was a managing director of one of his companies. They said Mateschitz never gave interviews and he refused to answer any questions about his son, though he maintained a relationship with his son's mom. It said he remained a reclusive figure, maintaining a very low profile despite his heavy involvement with racing and other high-profile sports. He was known for his simplicity of dress, often being seen wearing casual clothes, including denim pants and sunglasses. And he said, he was quoted, "I don't believe in 50 friends. I believe in a small number. Nor do I care about society events. It's the most senseless use of time. When I go out from time to time, it just convinces me again and again that I'm not missing a lot." He had a pilot's license. He enjoyed flying. He had a collection of old planes. He drank 10 to 12 cans of Red Bull every day. He died following a long period for treatment for pancreatic cancer at his home in Austria in October 2022 at 78. So
that pancreatic cancer, man, that's a bad one. But I have to wonder about, did you say 10 cans of Red Bull a day?
Yeah, 10 to 12 cans every day. Do you drink Red Bull?
No. And the first time I ever had one was out in Palm Springs, the Red Bull and vodka. I was like, oof. Do you drink Red Bull?
I don't. And, I was at my first encounter with Red Bull was in Mount Hood, Oregon. I was on a Subaru trip, and you remember Todd Lawrence.
I do.
One of the kids I hired, who's now a VP, by the way.
Yeah.
We were at a bar, unbeknownst to us, the only bar in town that was open at the time. And he and I were in there with a couple of other people. I think Robb Moran might have been with us. And we were unaware that there was a Red Bull event happening. That was what was going on that night, when bars do samplings. So somebody came up to us and said, "Would you like a Red Bull and vodka?" And Todd jumps in and goes, "Oh," he goes, "No way, that stuff tastes like ass." So, of course, that was it for the night. We were gone. We were asked to leave the bar because we didn't realize it was a Red Bull event. So we went out and found something else to do. But I don't like Red Bull.
No.
And I always thought the color was odd.
Mm-hmm.
It's this golden, almost pea color, and I thought it should be red, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it sort of resembles antifreeze, right?
Yeah. I thought it should have been pinkish or something, right? Red Bull. But hey, listen, he's got $27 billion. Was hawking toothpaste before he he went and bought this little drink in Thailand.
Yep.
And then decides this would be a good thing to bring to the U.S. Now, I went on a trip overseas. I remember I tried this beer, and I thought I should bring it back to the U.S. because you can't buy it here in the U.S. And I thought it tasted pretty good. Maybe I'll do beer. But what are we missing, John? There's got to be something in your... I didn't. Are there travels of something you've tasted where you can't get here in the U.S.? You thought maybe we should bring it in?
No. And I don't have a mind like that where I'm like, oh, I think we should start something like that. So you bring up an interesting point about him and a lot of entrepreneurs, right? He solves a problem. I don't have jet lag anymore because of this drink.
Yeah.
And then you get Red Bull based on this thing that gets in Asia. So yeah, good business birthday. In fact, I think we need to have this.
The canned applause. The canned applause.
It's canned, all right. All right, folks. We are going to take a really quick break. And as Tim mentioned at the start of the show today, we have an article about AI and how it's already displacing and changing the nature of small business. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. They're all business, except when they're not. It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here with my good friend and co-host, Mr. John T. Nash. As John mentioned right before the break, we've got a shop talk for you that revolves around AI. John found this story, I believe it's from Time Magazine, and it says, the small businesses already replacing workers with AI. And so I had read this story, and they had, in the beginning of the article, talks about a guitar school, an online guitar school called Sonora. And how they were able to essentially, I guess, pare down their employees in use of different types of software through AI and save them, they said, roughly $250,000 a year, which I thought was interesting. And also the company went from a 48-person company down to about 30 employees, and they didn't lose revenue, and they said they actually had better results. But it was because of AI or some of the efficiencies of AI. Later on in the article, though, I think it maybe, if I'm reading it correctly, it's maybe not so fast, right? That AI, while there's efficiencies, you still need to have the human interaction or the human touch in terms of using it correctly, right? You've always said that about the prompts and about how you use it as a tool.
So this. You set this up perfectly, Tim, and I'm glad you brought up at the very start the fact that this guitar school, they saw savings and of about $250,000 a year by eliminating HubSpot, Calendly. Calendly is one of those online programs where you can book people's time. Vimeo, which is a confusing one to me, and DocuSign, another one, like that's where you send contracts and stuff. And he claims that this was all due to Claude, which is the Anthropic AI, Claude Opus 4.5. By the way, we're up at about 4.6 or 4.7 now for Claude, if it's the Opus version. And Tim, you've used some of the chat bots. You've used chat, right?
No, I use it quite frequently, and I was surprised because in this article it says that, I didn't believe the number, but it said less than a fifth of workers are using some sort of AI, but everybody I know seems to use it in some way or another. Don't you think so? Or no?
I have people who have it on their phone. Instead of doing the old Google thing where they would ask a question of Google, they put a prompt in, they're now using Chat GPT for that. I still scratch my head at this one though. Like, did he sit down and say, did he sit down in front of Claude and say, I use the following software platforms. How could I streamline my business and eliminate these subscriptions? And then what did Claude do? Like, did it write apps for him, or did it like create, or did it point him in different directions? I mean, that's the part, like, I use this stuff a lot. And, on the last project we've been working on together, I've been using it extensively, and maybe it's me. It's probably me. I just don't know that I trust everything I'm being shown when it gives me an answer. Are you the same way?
I am, and I've tested it by knowing the truth of something. So I actually tested it with you and I about the work we've done and to see how accurate it is. And it was off by, in some ways. I mean, generally, I would say it was probably 75% there, but there were some things that just didn't have correct. And I felt the same way you did about this when he was eliminating things such as DocuSign. I thought, well, how difficult is that? You upload a document and then you send it to somebody and they click on, right, and it gets signed.
Yeah.
But I guess what they're saying here is you need a subscription for that. And supposedly AI was able to rewrite or mimic a software program, similar to DocuSign. And he was able to use it, I guess, through his subscription to Claude, right?
Correct.
And so I guess he did the same thing with the calendar app and with HubSpot and with some of the other stuff. Because when I saw it saved him $250,000, I thought, my gosh, that's quite a bit of money, I would think, for a small business to be able to save. Now, you and I have talked about in our work that we had in the past hired writers a number of times, or editors or copywriters, which you and I would usually write stuff anyway and then bounce it through one another before AI, or we'd have a copywriter take a look at it or put it in a tighter format, copy edit it. But we haven't done that now because of AI. You could run it through AI. The thing I've seen, and I think you've seen as well, is when people get over reliant on it, and then you can tell immediately that somebody's used because they don't go
completely.
in and put it in their voice.
Right.
And there's one person I know that will do that. What is it? Microsoft Copilot?
Copilot, yeah.
And you'll just ask the person a question, and then they'll send you back 2 pages, single-spaced, of diarrhea of the mouth from Copilot. And you're like, I just wanted a simple 1 or 2. Right? I don't need to know how to make a watch.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. So if we just to look at this article again, Tim was talking about earlier who's using what and why. And a couple of studies out of Harvard, especially out of economist David Deming, wrote in 2025 that AI adoption is faster in smaller firms, including startups. And then he mentions later, or it's mentioned later on, that a lot of firms are using Microsoft Copilot because it's built into the Office suite. They're technically adopters, but clearly these people have no idea what they're doing. And that leads me to this thing that Tim just said about, can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? And somebody sends back a word salad. Copywriting, especially if you're coming up or you're trying to come up with a memorable headline or a tagline, I'm not sure how the AI is inspired to do that, especially in the field that Tim and I are in. So, our careers have been in marketing and advertising, specifically a specialty in reaching the LGBTQ consumer. And some of that stuff requires like tongue in cheek and having a specific knowledge of our community to use a phrase or something that everybody else would think was innocuous, but the community would say, oh, that's hysterical. I can't believe they use that in an ad. How is AI going to come up with that?
Yeah, I don't think it gets the nuance, right? Or the overall context. And that's why when I had it answer, there was another thing that you and I had worked on that no longer exists anymore, but I had asked AI about it, and it acted as if it still was a viable entity, and I knew it was out of business. And so I do wonder, you do have to take it with a grain of salt, and actually, while it is helpful, it is efficient, I still think you still need somebody, I believe you need somebody to still read through and or put it in your own words. The other famous thing that particularly ChatGPT does is it does lots of negatives. It'll use a negative rather than making something positive. And I often find myself having to go in and take out a lot of the negative comments.
So another example so a friend of mine is working on their portfolio. It's a fashion portfolio. And they had this idea of presenting it on an iPad, and they wanted it to be an endless horizontal stream. You could just keep, you could keep swiping your fingers and it would glide along. And it wouldn't be picture by picture. It would just be one long, like as if someone took a big strip of film and it's invisible on both sides, but it's moving in front of you. Doesn't seem to be any apps that could do it. So I went on to Claude and I described the problem, and it actually came back and correctly identified 2 or 3 platforms that could do it. 2 of them were out of
Wow.
business. The copyright had not been renewed since 2021 or something. And then it said, this functionality really doesn't exist. Would you like me to create an app for you? Out of sheer curiosity, I said, I'd like to see what this would look like. It created code that and had placeholders that would allow you to swipe and infinitely add pictures. And do you want them to overlap? Do you want to do this? And then it generated the code. And I didn't know what to do with it afterwards because it said,
You put it on Apple.
Well,
don't you?
It actually said, if you want to create an app that goes to an app store, it needs to be done one way. If you want this to be an app that runs simply using a web browser, here's the code. And so I downloaded the code and I dropped it into Chrome or Safari, and it does in fact work. But, and the but is the most important part, what if I didn't like what I was seeing? How do I go back and change it? Because I don't know how it came up with it in the first place. Right. So I have to and so a lot of this AI stuff comes down to how well you can frame a problem and how well you can verbalize or type what that problem is and break it into its components and then feed that to the system. And then I've been taught that the Socratic method, where you ask a single question and you get an answer and then you kind of build on that, like Socrates used to do, is another great way of doing it. But what it shows me is, yes, there are going to be people who excel at using AI in our future. And there are going to be people who could look at a problem and understand how to break it into its component pieces so that an AI system can help you solve the problem. But Tim, you and I know from our corporate and agency experiences that not everybody thinks like that, right? And sometimes teams do things differently.
I want to back up on this app. So you could call it the Nash app. Are you going to make money on it? Can you load it?
You know, the friend I was doing the research for said, oh, there's tons of designers that would use this. And I'm thinking, define that ton part, because what makes you the money is obviously at scale, right?
Well, if you sold it for $1, right, you're not going to buy it for $10, but you'd buy it for $1 or $2.
I think
now, I don't know how
Tim,
much,
you're at the limit there. I think you're at $2.99, right?
How much do you have to give to the App Store or whatever? I wonder.
Oh, they take, I forget what percentage Apple takes of that, but I think it's a 10 or 15% off the sales.
Say you sold, say 50,000 people or 30,000 people started this. Well, John, I think you got something there. Now I'm on to the apps. I got to figure out what kind of apps we're going to do. I am shocked that one like that does not exist.
Well, it's a specific need, right? And there you go again. We were talking about this at the beginning of the show, problem solution, right? You have a problem.
You got something there, Nash. Got it. Do you have a little icon done yet?
No. I abandoned the I saved all the data, but I've abandoned the problem for the time being. Yeah. So to wrap up our article, by the way, the net here is that they're really not sure how this is going to go. What jobs will it displace? Some customer service jobs, some jobs that don't require as many people as it used to. But at the same time, as we use this AI, we all know, I hope we know, that these data centers are using massive amounts of electricity, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why people don't want them near their residences, right? They're apparently very loud.
The fans, right?
Yeah. I didn't realize that, but you and I have talked a lot about AI on this show, and I'm afraid of it. I keep seeing these things on 60 Minutes when they talk about it, how eventually they can take over or they could control. You don't want them controlling weapon systems and making decisions that they're capable of doing. And they say, particularly with China and the U.S. and Russia or some of the larger countries, need to get it under control or have some sort of agreement that this thing doesn't get out of hand. But and some say it might already be out of hand, right? So it's scary.
This administration has no guardrails. No guardrails. And you have executives in these different companies who think that they need to be regulated. They're asking for regulation, but yeah. So it was a good article. My advice to anybody who's been listening to us talk about this, or that you're aware of it, obviously, try out ChatGPT or Claude. They're free for a little bit. You could get a couple hours out of them, or maybe, I don't know how it works, but then it says, please pay to get more. And I just walk away until I get the free thing again.
Do you have a subscription to one?
I had a subscription to Chat for a while. I had one to Claude, the most useful in my opinion for writing. And I've had one to Midjourney, which is an art program. It creates art. And that was the most worthwhile subscription because, by God, that thing, the images it generated still blow my mind. They're photographic. They look real. I'm like, where is this coming from? That's the whole thing. Like,
yeah,
I know how a photograph works. I know how an illustrator creates stuff. I don't know how the computer does this. But I would say start getting if you're in the sunset years, don't worry about it.
What do they charge for a month? Do you know?
$20 usually for a normal subscription. But the art ones like Midjourney, they were $60 or $70 a month. Well worth it for what I was doing at the time. But yeah, so there you go, folks. We're going to wrap it up there. AI has not come for me and Tim yet, or Tim and me, but it will come for our grammar. Do you see how I did that, Tim? Tim and me and Tim.
Tim and me and Tim. Well, yeah.
Tim
out
and
to
I.
lunch. They didn't teach that in Connecticut.
Yeah, I was told. My mom, by the way, used to be a teacher. She just shakes her head when I bring this up. She goes, that seems to be a Middlebury, Southbury thing. The kids never got that. Maybe it's our region. Maybe there's something in the water we couldn't get.
In college, my professor in communications. Where were you, Bennett, in 7th grade grammar? Out to lunch.
Yeah.
You and Candido came from the same school system. I'm not surprised. She's comma happy.
Hey, I'll just close by saying this. Last time I visited my mom, we talked about education, and she once again repeated. She said, you and Tim, because she was asking about you, how you were doing. And she said, you and Tim are the product of the peak of public education. I would agree.
Back in the day, yeah.
Golden age. All right, folks, thanks for joining us here on the Focus Group. FocusGroupRadio.com is our website. You can learn all about us there, including our Tuesday podcast, TFG Unbuttoned. That comes out on Tuesdays. And we like to say here, especially as the summer driving season picks up steam, don't text and drive, arrive alive, because we'd like to see you here on the Focus Group next week. Have a good one.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.